Back in the 80s and 90s, Wax Trax helped shape the sound of industrial music. In this video, I'm checking out the gear and the recording techniques they used and trying to capture that vibe into a track. Wax Trax Records was a major force in the industrial and punk scenes during the 80s and 90s. Based out of Chicago, the label played a huge role in shaping the sound of that era, especially by giving a platform to European acts like Front 242, The Young Gods, or Coil. They dropped some seriously influential records over the years, but things really took off with the release of Cold Life by Ministry in '81. That, along with the US release of Front 242's Endless Riddance EP, helped cement Wax Trax as the go-to industrial label in the States. Wax Trax was home to some of the most influential bands in the industrial and EBM music. Just to name a few, there was Ministry, one of the label's biggest acts.
He has his own label, much in the same way that I have mine with Wax Trax, and he's like, we were like tailor-made to work with each other in the sense that, you know, we both have our own labels, we're both very independent-minded, and really don't take any shit from major labels anymore.
KMFDM brought their signature mix of heavy guitars and electronic beats. Front 242 helped introduce American audiences to the European EBM sound. Then you had Revolting, a side project started by Richard 23 of Front 242, Luke Van Acker, and Al Jorgensen of Ministry. Let's not forget Frontline Assembly, Coil, and My Life with the Thrill Kill Kult. Even VNV Nation, who aren't always linked with Wax Trax, released Praise the Fallen through them. Many of these artists were connected through Al Jorgensen of Ministry, creating a highly creative scene. But what's your favorite Wax Trax release? Let's start with the drum sounds. Drum machines were a big part of the Wax Trax sound. Drum machines such as the EMU drumulator used by Front 242, the classic Lindrum used on early Ministry records, the Oberheim DMX, obviously the Fairlight CMI drum samples.
Oh, wonderful.
But my choice, besides my drum packs, shameless plug, would be the Kawai R100 and the Kawai R50E. There's also the Boss DR550, which came out in '89 that I love. Then the second most important thing would be the bass sound. There are three types of bass. The analog bass sound that you can hear on Every Day's Halloween or All Day by Ministry. Those can be done using pretty much any analog synthesizer that came out at that time, like the Minimoog or the Pro One. Then there's the FM bass sound heard a lot on Front 242's album, like Front by Front or Official Version. That's done using the DX7 or any FM synthesizer. And finally, one of my favorite, the electric bass sample, which you can hear a lot on Revolting albums or My Life with the Thrill Kill Kult, such as The Days of Swine and Roses. Then as for synthesizers for leads and pads, I feel like you can use pretty much any synth of that era. The important thing is the choice of sounds. So this one is probably the most important one. Sampling was the core of the Wax Trax trademark sound. Whether it was for drums, synths, bass, these artists were using samples everywhere. The famous Fairlight CMI was used on pretty much every early Ministry records. They just got that Fairlight machine, which is a huge expensive machine, and they didn't know how to use it. They could only do very short loops. The music was made based on what they could do with that super expensive machine. That's why it's very repetitive. Frontline Assembly relied heavily on Akai samplers, using them to compose the entire Caustic Grip album.
I pulled out the S1000 a little while ago, and just threw some stuff in, and it was that sound. I'm just
Isn't it crazy how like depending on what era of sound you want, you could go hook up your old gear and have that sound back.
The S1000 sounded like Caustic Grip right away.
Front 242, on the other hand, were using the Emulator 2. Another kind of sampling that they used, and sadly that's pretty much a lost art today, is sampling from records, movies, TV shows, like the sampling of You Know What You Are by Ministry. That is from Clint Eastwood, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Or the guitar riff from Godlike by KMFDM. That is from a Slayer track called Angel of Death. But I might have to cut that part out for copyright issues. So if you want to know more about sampling, follow me on Instagram. But if there's no copyright, here's some examples. Alright, now that we've covered the history, the gear, and the bands behind Wax Trax records, let's fire up Cubase. Let's start with drums. For this one, I used Boss DR550 samples. For the kick, I EQ'd it to make it bigger in the low-end area. I also added the RX950 plugin to emulate the Akai sampler's texture. For the snare, I boosted the low mids to add some punch and also boosted the high end to make it brighter. Then again, I added the RX950 for the Akai texture and also some reverb for that old school room sound. For the hi-hats, I boosted the high end and also added some reverb to help them blend better into the mix. Then my favorite, the clap sounds. I also boosted the high end because old school drum machines are very lo-fi and I want something a bit more modern. And I added also the RX950 on them. Then for the tom sounds, I added again EQ, RX950 and room reverb. As for my main bass sound, I used Serum. So I have my two oscillators here. Both of them are DX Brass 2. The first oscillator, the unison, is at 2. Then the second oscillator is down by 2 octaves. Envelope 2 is assigned to the cutoff. And also I chose the FM B option here. And the knob is about 1/3. And it sounds like this. Then I added a electric bass sample that sounds like this. Love it. 3 oscillators sounds like this together. Then let's go to the FX panel. I added 3 EQs. There's no external processing whatsoever. Everything is done in Serum. First EQ. I removed some of the low end. Second EQ, low mid. And third EQ, I boosted the low end. Then added some distortion. Then to finish it up, some reverb. Also very important, I forgot the velocity is assigned to the cutoff and also to the FM knob here. Then for my leads, there's not too many of them in this song. I also used Serum FM synthesis. One of them is more like an ARP sequence, and the other one is more like a front 242 lead sound. I also used this classic Fairlight CMI sample. Then to finish it up, I sampled this classic movie. Let me know if you know what movie this is.
1, 2, 3, 4. Get down! 1, 2, 3, 4. What the fuck is that?
But before we check out the full song, don't forget to check out my website and my Patreon, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.